everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a good day so far. I'm just gonna get started here on actually building my steps up to my little top floor here. So I wanted to make a video on how I make these things and the process behind this, because there's a lot more math involved with stairs. So, you know, it isn't gonna be a too exciting video, but if you're here to learn how to build some stairs, then I'm gonna make sure that you leave here knowing how to build some stairs. So I'm gonna first go over some basics. So the first thing you need to do with any set of stairs is determine your total rise. So that's from finished floor to finished floor. So from down here all the way up to my highest point there. So that's what you start with. Secondly is you need to figure out what stair you're putting in. I'm doing a little L run stair. I have one flight up to a landing, another flight up to the top. So I've got 2 flights of stairs. I need to figure out the height of my landing. Code-wise, I think you can't go more than 3.8 meters before you have a landing, because that's code, because apparently people just get lazy. So we need to have landing to give somewhere for people to kind of catch their breath and rest. So I'm just gonna quickly go over how to figure out stair, stringer, rise and run, cuts, and all that stuff. So stair layout, I'm just getting on to constructing these in my cabin here, so I just wanted to let you know how it all works. So first things first, you want to figure out obviously what kind of stair you're doing. So I am doing a little L run stair. So just for ease of seeing what's going on, we're going to do a top view. So L run, I've got a landing, I've got a bottom flight, and I've got a top flight. So that is what my stairs are going to look like. Next thing you want to do is figure out your total rise. So that means the height at the very top here, finished floor, to the bottom, finished floor. So you start off total rise equals blank. We'll say it's, I'm going to do this all in metric because of the fact that's the way I was taught in school, so it's easiest for me that way. We'll say it's 1500. Next, you have to figure out what you want your height of your landing to be. There's several different scenarios where you might have your rise and run and you need to figure out your landing height, or vice versa, or you know, a combination of several things. So in this case, I had to do a lot of you know, figuring out where I want this landing to give me the smallest rise per step, because of the fact I got to go up so high in such a short bit of stairs. So I had to kind of do this last, but for these learning purposes, I'm going to just give a set height of landing equals, let's say this is 800. So the next thing you want to do is divide these. Start strictly working on the bottom flight. Bottom flight. I want to know my risers, my treads, my unit rise, and my unit run. That will give me everything I need to lay out my stringers for this step. So all I'm doing is, for me, I know the width of my stair. The width of my stair is the width of my projection that I already have framed on my top floor. That width, I want the same as this bottom width. So let's say that's 100 for ease of education. So that's 100. I know that this width is 100 and this width is 100. So what you start off by doing is I want to figure out the total run of this bottom set of stairs. So again, that might be something you already have, might be something you need to figure out. But what I did is I plumbed down from this point, which is the edge of where my stairs will be as to my framing upstairs. And I got a mark on the floor, my starting mark. So that distance, all I did was subtract my width of landing to get my total run of my bottom flight. So again, just for ease of education, let's say that will be 750. Ooh, yeah, that's nice and bulk. So then all I did was figure out how many treads I want on my first set of risers, on my first set of stairs, sorry. So from a side view, I determined that I need 5 treads. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 treads or wherever my foot goes, and then it goes up to my landing. Landing is never counted in this because it's technically called a landing, not a tread. So this right here is my flight, which I need to figure out. So I have this total run, 750. Divide that by my number of treads, 5. So 750 divided by 5 equals my unit run. So per step, we can start filling this out. I already figured out that I have 5 treads. 5. Risers, there will always be one more riser than there is a tread. So 6, because as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 treads, but a riser, it always starts with a riser and finishes with a riser. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This last riser, you might be confused because I didn't add this tread because it's part of the landing. This riser is technically still part of the stairs. So I have my number of treads, my number of risers, my unit run, which I figured out to 150. These numbers, again, are not going to be to code just because of the fact that I'm just throwing random numbers out here to show you kind of what you're looking for. So unit run is 150. For the rise, again, I had very set parameters to figure out where my landing is, but we already got our height to landing. So if we know our height to landing, which is going to be over here, 800, all we need to do is divide that number by the number of treads or risers we have. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we go 800 divided by 6, 800 divided by 6, 133.3. So we can just round that to 133. So our unit rise is 133. Now that is all if you have, again, set parameters. You have a total rise, a height to landing. All of those are already established. So here's all my numbers. I've got my total rise at the very bottom just because I copied these out afterwards. I just made a bunch of messy notes, but my total rise is always what I start with. So 2,457.5 millimeters. I figured out my height to landing, which is 1,474.2, my landing size. And then you can see I've got this divided, my lower flight and my upper flight. So again, the same process I used to figure out on here, I did. My risers, treads, unit rise, and unit run. And that's all you need, numbers-wise. So now I've got the complicated stuff out of the way. Sorry if that was a lot to take in. You're not going to get this overnight. I don't know. It's hard for me to explain because I understand it. and it didn't take me one day to understand how to do this all. So anyways, I've got all my numbers. First thing I'm gonna do is make my landing. Actual construction, that's my first thing that I wanna do after I've got, obviously, my floors done. So my height to landing, and then all I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna frame that with just 2x4s. I'm gonna leave it open, just 4 legs, all braced and screwed, but I'm gonna leave it open because I'm gonna incorporate some kind of storage space underneath there, so that's not wasted room, right? One other thing is when you're figuring out your rise, your unit rise, your height of landing, all of that, you need to figure out and think about flooring. What flooring is going on here? Now, to make it easy, what I've been doing is I'm gonna frame this all like this is all finished flooring. I'm gonna have all my treads, risers, everything the same, because in one flight of stairs, you need your unit rise to be plus or minus only like 5 millimeters or something ridiculously small. Because if it's any more, a human, once they take the first 2 steps, 2-3 steps, their brain automatically, you know, does the same, and if you're off like 10 millimeters, I'm just saying metric again, you know, you're gonna trip, and that's where people stumble and fall on stairs, is because of the fact there's not that consistency. So if you build your stairs without knowing that there's gonna be, you know, 3/4 of an inch topper treads going on all these stairs, your bottom rise is gonna be 3/4 of an inch too tall, and that could be a very big problem. So like I said, I'm building all this as if it's finished floor. So I'm leaving it all because what I'm doing is I'm gonna have the same flooring that's going on my bottom floor and top floor going on my steps as well, which makes it super easy because I'm adding 3/4 of an inch on the bottom, let's just say, and I'm adding 3/4 of an inch on every step on the landing, so everything's the same. So that makes things easy. So I'm gonna go ahead and build this landing, and then we'll go over cutting out stringers and the rest of construction. All right, so here's my landing. You know, nothing extraordinary, but it'll absolutely do. So I just made a whole bunch of L's. My total rise, or height of landing, sorry, I got the top of here to the floor, which I figured out. My L's, I made them my 3/4 of an inch and 3.5 inches shorter than my height of landing, so this whole system can sit right on top. Again, that direct bearing, so it's not just screws holding this thing up. On the inside, I just put a little block just to screw these guys to, and then just one guy in the middle for support. But my stringers are gonna come up here. I ran this long because I want to get it tight to the wall here. When I put my stairs up, I'm gonna have to figure out some sort of filler in there or something. But I don't want a big gap behind there. But yeah, stairs will come up to your landing. It's like just, again, this was the lowest I could get my landing without having these stairs being so radically different from this flight. So then I'll have a couple coming up here, but you know, there's just gonna be enough room to clear your head here, which I was worried about, but it's just gonna be perfect. So let me go down now, and we'll talk about how to lay out a stringer. So I've got one set up here. This is for my lower flight, and these are what I'm cutting out. Now, first problem, I thought 2x8s would be enough, but this effective depth of the stringer, that's what this little bit here is called, is not nearly enough. I can't recall offhand what that needs to be, but that is not enough. That will not hold up. So anyways, what I'm going to be doing is splicing 2x4 on the bottom, and then just on the inside I'll just have one of these guys scabbed over top and all screwed together, so that we have plenty of beef, because you know, this is such a steep stair, which, you know, it would be worse if it was a lower slope, because there'd be more, you know, trying to break this right in half rather than pushing down onto it. But I'm gonna double that up. Now for laying out the actual rise and run, you need a framing square, and I had to convert it into inches. So my rise for this my unit rise for this first flight was 9 and 11/16. So I marked it with pencil. It's super hard to see, but anyways, I marked it out there just because this is so old and you can't just, you know, look at the markings on this. And then my run was 8 1/4. Again, I marked it with a pencil, super hard to see, but what you can get is they're called stair gauges, and they're little kind of nuts that pinch onto this thing, and you set this to where you want on the edge of your board. You slide those nuts up and tighten them. That way you can just pop this all the way along, and it will you don't have to, you know, line this thing up slowly and then mark it out. So, but I don't have those, so I had to line it up. So what you do is you start with your board, and this is going to be the top. This is going from bottom to top, the top edge of my stringer, and start on the bottom, giving myself enough space here so I can get my bottom rise in. This will just continue straight down and be cut off. But all I did was I lined up my 8 1/4 for my run, because you think if that's the top, your foot's going to be going along the bottom there, so that's your run. And your rise is going up, so 9 11/16. Line that up, mark it out. You just hop it up, do the same thing, boom, boom, boom. And then once I get to the top here, which I am, because I had 5 treads and 6 risers. So again, this is going to come down. I haven't drawn this in yet, but straight down and across my rise height. So that's 1 rise, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 will be onto my landing. But I'm cutting it off right here because my actual stringer won't go up here. That's my landing, right? So I'm going to copy these out, get these built up, cut all 4 of them out, and then show you the installation kind of process. All right, so after laying out this first stringer and cutting it out and kind of setting it in place, you know, it kind of got some questions going in my head. A couple things. First of all, I needed to figure out what I was doing for the face of my risers, because I'm going to have the same finished floor going on my floor and on my treads, so they're going to be sitting directly on top of here. But my face, my riser face, I wasn't sure what to do. So, you know, I'm trying to figure out something that'll look obviously decent, and you know, something that I don't need to blow a ton of money on. So I kind of just got some scraps. I got a whole bunch of extra 2x4s. What I'm going to be doing is just building up 3 high, 1, 2, 3 for my riser. So I'm going to have to rip off on this top one like 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4. Alrighty, so that pretty much wraps up the framing of the stairs. You know, this is all ready for my treads now. Still just got to frame this little bottom here, but you know, did the same thing as this bottom flight for this top flight. Now you can see I put the hanger board in here. I'm gonna have a nice finishing all of this end. so you won't be able to see any of that, but as you can see, it's all hanging. This is screwed into the back to the stringers, and that's hanging on my landing here. So yeah, these ones were better. I actually cut at 45 this time. You know, it's pretty sweet. It's cool to have little stairs up here now. So what the plan is now, I left this a 1/2 inch away. Same with this, from plumb 1/2 inch. And I'm gonna put a piece of 1/2 inch plywood all the way down here. So that's all gonna be covered. And then I'm gonna frame up a little wall here. So instead of a railing on this side, it's just gonna be a little wall. And that plywood's just gonna run all the way up. This will just be railing all the way around. Here I had to do some major shimming. It was a pain in the butt. I had to tweak a lot of things because of the fact that my bottom flight, I wanted as tight to the wall as possible. My landing isn't perfectly square to the rest of this. The other thing that didn't help is this isn't perfectly plumb, or level, sorry, and this is not square. So I had to do a lot of changing and fudging, and anyways, I ended up just having to shim this out. But that, again, you will not see any of that when I put my flooring over. It's gonna cover that all, put my nosing, it'll be sweet and perfect. All right, so newel posts are in. Everything's glued and secure. These things are solid and they're plumb and level. So to a degree. Next step would be installing my handrail, and it's super easy because all I'm gonna do, I rest my handrail on my line of flight. And I left myself plenty of extra here. But anyways, I already marked this out, but all I do is lie it down on my risers, and I just mark it, bottom, top, and then I just cut that out, and that's gonna go right in between my newel posts. I'm just gonna screw in from the backs all the way through. So there they are installed, super easy to do. Again, just cut on my mark. You know, not 100% perfect, but they're like pretty damn close. So yeah, looks pretty sweet. I just figured out the top of my handrail railing, sorry, my 2'6" on the front edge here was 2 inches below my kerf mark. Same with the top. So all I did was mark 2 inches down, carry the top point, because my screws are going like this, they want to be as high as possible. Carried that top line around and screwed and drilled just below. So I drilled with a hole bigger than the head, about the halfway, the depth. Here's a screw. So my screw is in there like this right now. So I wanted my head of this screw to get at least halfway. And then I drilled with a bit the diameter of this thread the rest of the way through. So this would just go in and spin. And then I just put some glue, bring this up to place. You always do the bottom first, because if I'm holding the bottom here, the top isn't going anywhere. What I ended up doing is actually I put a little screw just in here, just to hold the bottom from falling out. And the top will naturally want to fall down, but it can't go anywhere because the newel post. So always start at the bottom, drilled it in, it sucked it tight, did the same thing all the way up, and it's looking pretty sweet. Again, I can't, ooh, this is nice. I can't finish this yet because where I put this post, I'm gonna have my railing here go right over top. I didn't want a little knob sticking out right here where you'd want to kind of hang out and look at people or whoever's down there. But anyways, I put this on this other side here. because if I had it over here, my layout for my spindles wouldn't work out exactly how I want. And then secondly, it would be very crowded. You know, a lot of newel posts right in this one spot. So I put it just around the corner, and yeah, this top handrail is gonna come straight across here and then out a bit, and I'm gonna just split the angle here, and this other one is just gonna be drilled and screwed, secured right to that. So I can't put this piece on yet until I get this on, but I can't get this on yet until I get the roof or the ceiling done. So anyways, I've done as much as I can do now. Looking pretty good. I also just made this topper piece here. This piece isn't on here yet, but I wasn't sure what to do here. I was thinking maybe I would leave it plywood, but if I bought finished one side, it would have been okay. But it's a lot more expensive. So I just went with a regular ply, and it doesn't really look the best. And so that's why I have this mitered, because I was going to return this. I didn't want to have any end grain. But what I'm going to do now is probably finish this in the same material that I'm doing the ceiling in. Probably some kind of pine strip TNG of some sort. And I'll just do strips along there and around here, so it'll finish it off nicely. And then the ceiling is gonna run into this and wrap all of this. That's why I didn't run this all the way, but it's nice, smooth, and nice to see finished stuff going in. So, you know, this turned out real nice. Thanks for watching this video on how to frame and kind of figure out stairs, the math, and all that garbage. But I hope you enjoyed the video. You know, things are starting to take shape. I'll keep you posted with future updates, and yeah, take care. See you next time.